often you hear Republicans talking about their healthcare plan, and that the way to drive insurance costs down is through quote unquote allowing insurance companies to sell across state lines. And what I'm practically going to be doing in this video is debunking it. I wrote a whole article on it, so make sure you check the description to go read the article on it, but I'm going to run through it here with you guys. So this is a common myth that we hear, and unfortunately I wish Bernie Sanders would have been prepared, because Ted Cruz used this bullshit talking point, may I add, multiple times throughout the whole debate basically, and it's total BS, right? But anyway, so this myth implies that Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, somehow prohibits the sale of insurance through state lines, right? Like, oh, everything has to be contained within a state, and if you nationalize it by the insurance companies being able to sell it in whatever state, that's going to be great. I don't see how you would, if you're in California, why you would buy insurance in Ohio, but I don't get that anyways. But anyways, so here's the point. So this is a big myth. There actually is a provision in the Affordable Care Act that allows states to compound together and say, they go to their legislatures and they say, hey, we want to form a pact, or, you know, a group, whatever you want to call it. Like Georgia will go and say, we want to do with Kansas or whatever. But yeah, so they can do that, and then insurers who then agree with those states can then sell across state lines. So they can do it. There's a provision in there. So the truth is that no insurance company has actually done it. So here's what The Hill says. They say, quote, Obamacare's little-known provision that allows insurers to sell plans across state lines was tucked inside the 1,000-page law at the time of its passage, though it didn't go into effect until January 2016. Under the law, 2 or more states can band together into what's called a healthcare choice compact. That means people can buy health coverage from another state that wouldn't be subjected to the rules of their home state, as long as those states agree. Seems fair to me, right? If the states agree, hey, you can sell across those state lines. But what happened is after that, no insurers wanted to do it. I'm going to break that down here for you. So this is from the LA Times. They say, quote, Georgia, Maine, and Wyoming have passed laws enabling such compacts, which means the states come together. No other states have joined them, and not a single insurer has expressed any interest in taking advantage of them. According to the Urban Institute, Georgia's law permits insurers to sell policies that have been approved in other states, and Maine's law allows the sale of policies approved in Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, or Rhode Island. So that's 4 states. That's a big compact. So again, this idea that you can't sell across state lines, what the truth is that all you have to do is get an agreement with the insurer and the states. So this whole myth, it implies that there's some kind of blockage of it. It allows them to come together. So that in itself is a huge lie. But as well, we are going to go into the details of this. But here's also something from the LA Times. They say, quote, as industry expert Richard Mayhew of BalloonJuice.com observed earlier this year, if a law was passed granting a national license to any insurer in any state, the state with the weakest and most easily bought regulatory structure would have 98% of the viable insurance companies headquartered there within 9 months. With the idea of selling insurance across state lines, what would effectively occur is the fleeing from regulations. So basically what that means is, what would happen if you were to do that, if you were to make it a national system where there's no more state regulations. Basically, it's like, I never understood that, right? Because I thought conservatives were all about states' rights. The state regulations are the state's decisions. So I never understood that. But on top of that, if you were to make it a national system, you do realize what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen is they're all going to go to the same fucking state that has the least taxes and has the least regulations so that they can sell. What happens, according to your model, conservatives, the more competition drives it down, right? So if you have all of the competition in one fucking state and in all the other states where you have, like California, where there's probably major regulation, or New York, where there's major regulation, Massachusetts, where there's major regulation, there's a mandate there, right? You go to the places with the least regulation, wherever, I don't know, I'm guessing Alabama or Georgia probably, because they seem to be the token state. But every company would go to Georgia because the taxes are so low and the regulations would be so little that they could discriminate by pre-existing conditions, and it would be massive chaos because people who would be sick would not be able to get it in practically any state, to be quite frank with you. So by your model, competition drives it down. All of the insurance companies go to that one state that has no regulations. So what happens in the states with regulations? You have one, maybe two insurance companies there. By your model, the premiums are going to skyrocket. So your own logic is massively flawed, okay? Because it's the same thing with the credit. They're going to go where the least regulation is. So the rest of the states with any regulation, the fucking premiums are going to go through the roof. So this whole idea of selling across state lines is going to solve every problem. That's totally false. It's a total fabrication. And the idea that there is some kind of prohibition of the sale of insurance across state lines is completely false. So this Republican talking point has been debunked multiple times. What's up, guys? It's Saul Hill here. You guys are watching The Progressive Voice. Make sure you guys click subscribe down below. We're fighting Donald Trump tooth and nail, and we need your help.